Hey, soldiers, the Pentagon cannot account for over $1 trillion in assets. That is the result of the latest Defense Department audit that was recently conducted. Now, you might be wondering, well, where did all of these assets go? How come they can't account for them? Hey guys, we know that some of it went to establish a modern army for the Taliban. Soldiers, this is why I'm always insisting that we pay attention to the law, the tax law, to help us reduce our level of taxation. Reason being, the government does not respect us as taxpayers. And if we were investors in any company, that company would have to have a lot more accountability than the United States government has. But what the government also has is a monopoly on force. Therefore, if you don't abide by the tax law, you can have your door kicked in and you can be hauled off to a federal prison for an indeterminate amount of time. So we have to pay taxes. We also can participate in the rules that Congress and the Senate and the president makes to help them and their wealthy friends reduce their tax burden. Guys, if the United States of America were a publicly traded company, all of the executives would be serving lengthy prison sentences for financial malfeasance. Let me ask you, and I want to hear from you in the comments, would you invest in America if it were a corporation? Now, we got $33 trillion in debt. Might as well say $34 trillion. We got a CEO that he can't negotiate a flight of stairs. And we've got a board of directors of Congress and the Senate. They don't know whether they're coming or going. The Pentagon failed an independent audit of its accounting systems for the 6th consecutive year. This is according to the Pentagon itself. They're reporting this. Things are showing progress, but it's not enough. That's according to Mike McCord, who's the chief financial officer of the Pentagon. Now, let me ask you something. If the chief financial officer of any publicly traded company based here in America had 6 consecutive audits fail, don't you know that the Congress would be breathing down their necks, having them up on Capitol Hill? Explain yourselves. And hey, I'm not suggesting that that would be a bad thing, because this company, if it's got investors, needs to be doing the right thing by those investors, right? Why aren't we investors? Why aren't we as taxpayers looked at as investors, especially when the nomenclature of taxes, they've tried to change it over the last few years. And we're making investments. No, you are not making anything. The taxpayer, that's our money that is being invested in infrastructure or whatever, okay? So where is the need for accountability? We are a country that's got a Defense Department with $4 trillion worth of liabilities and $3.8 trillion in assets. But here's the thing, according to this audit, 50% of those assets cannot be located. So we're underwater as far as the balance sheet is concerned at the Pentagon. And at the same time, we can't locate half of the assets that we say we have. All right. So we got 3.8 trillion, so well over $1 trillion that we're looking at that cannot be accounted for. But that doesn't stop us from sending military aid all over the world. That doesn't stop us from having these far-flung bases. And I think one would be, justified in thinking that, there's so much malfeasance in this system. There are so many missing assets that maybe someone's profiting off of this, okay? Maybe some of this is going into black budgets that the taxpayers aren't being apprised of. Maybe there's a lack of transparency. Oh, you think so? The United States government, a lack of transparency? Would they ever do that? Of course they would. So look, you have to pay taxes. I preface this every time I preface what I'm about to say with that comment every time I bring up this issue. you're not respected as a taxpayer. But unlike a publicly traded company that is engaging in all types of malfeasance and tomfoolery, you don't have the option of saying, well, I'm just not going to invest in you. Okay, I'm taking my dollars and I'm going home. You can't do that with the United States government because the government has a monopoly on force. If you don't pay your taxes, they can kick in your door, haul you off to a hole in the ground for an indeterminate amount of years. So we have to pay taxes, but again, we also have the ability to abide by the laws that the Congress has written and the president has signed, and the IRS has then codified in regulation. And there are vehicles, there are financial vehicles. Real estate's one. You guys thought I was going to say a Roth IRA and permanent life insurance. Those certainly qualify. Real estate is also a way to seek broader tax benefits than you may get just from being a W-2 employee. And I want to stress this. Okay, now I know everybody's not entrepreneurial, but if you got one little mustard seed worth of entrepreneurialism brewing within you, you need to cultivate that. Because the other thing is, when you operate a business, and I know there were during the 90s, there was this thing where people were like, open a business and you can just take tax deductions. No. Open a business to make a profit by providing a quality good or service to a customer base. Okay. And subsequent to that, you will also be able to realize some tax advantages by virtue of having a business. But the first reason you should be considering opening a business is to provide that good or service or product in order to make a profit. Okay. And yes, in this country, when you do that, the IRS does allow you to enjoy certain benefits that you would not enjoy if your income is based totally on earned income, working for somebody. Okay, W-2, right? So I know everybody doesn't have that, but even if you don't, let's go back to the Roth IRA and the permanent insurance policy. You can use those things to decrease your future taxation. The United States is $34 trillion in debt and climbing, not counting the unfunded liabilities of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, military requirements, and a few other things. Okay, it's untenable. It's not gonna ever be paid off. We'll go insolvent first. But in the meantime, they're gonna hit you up for taxation, especially considering the fact that fewer and fewer, or I should say more and more, foreign countries are saying, you know what, think I'll pass on this latest round of U.S. debt that you guys are issuing. We just talked about that in this video. Guys, check it out, and I'll talk to you soon.